All right, let's do that. Let's get ready to rock and roll today. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first layer. My name's Richard. You guys know who I am. If you don't, let me just put this up so you do know who I am. Ta-da! So yes, let's say hi to some people today that are in the chat. We've got 17 people or 15 people and only 7 likes. Come on, you guys can do better than that. Let's say hi to Tim Postma. John Bima is here. He says, "Yay, stream today." Tim's got a question. I'm going to come back to that. There's Matt Gurman is here. Gary T, my good friend. Non-fam as well. Steve Reimer's here. SK3D. Ben E. Brady. Pierre. The Poor Boy Channel. Our good friend Jeff. Guy the Jedi is here. Non-fam. Dominic Versetto's here today. Bag of Chips is here. I love that name, by the way. And I think I got everybody. So far, I got everybody. Okay, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. All right, let's go back to Tim's question real quick. Tim says, "Do you support the idea of 1.5 kilogram spools of PLA?" Yes, absolutely, I do. If you can use them, there's no reason not to use them. If you can get them. Not everybody does 1.5 kilograms. Some people will go from 1 kilogram to 3 kilograms. But yeah, definitely. The Poor Boy Channel says, "Hey, hi, hello, howdy. How do you do?" I do just fine. Hola, hiya, and hey y'all. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and maybe good night. Wow. That's, yeah, I did get some hairs cut. Yes, 1 or 2. I'm not a hippie anymore. So, yeah. What else we got going on here? No channel yet. Guy the Jedi no channel yet. I'm not sure what's going on there, but everybody can see me. Hey there, Sheldon Grant. 3D Life. Hey, caught alive notification is working. Yes, it is. Question: Z offset before or after ABL? Before ABL is my suggestion, Guy the Jedi. Today we're going to continue working on our, hey there, Sergio HVAC A to Z, welcome, sir. We're going to continue working on the Stealthburner. We only got so far on the last stream, and I know I should have been here on Thursday to continue. Unfortunately, I was not. Thursday, I had a massive migraine, and I couldn't muster up enough energy to do a stream in the evening. And then Friday, before we get into where we're at today, on Friday was the celebration of life for my good friend Peter Reynolds, and it was a very emotional day. I spent a lot of time with his family, getting to know his brother a little bit, getting to know more about his son and his family, his nieces and nephews and in-laws. It was a great day to get to know Peter. And speaking of that, I want to run a little video if you guys will permit me. This is just some of the stuff that was on display from Peter's life and some of the hobbies that he did, and I'm going to talk you guys through that. All right, let's go to this video. So you can see here that Peter had a passion for creating things, and elephants and dinosaurs were some of his favorites. Dragons, he's a very big fan of dragons. He worked for CBC for many years. There he's got a Groot made in wooden filament and some Moai heads, and we can see here the Mandalorian with Baby Yoda. What a beautiful print. He did an amazing job on that. As we move over, he got into a little bit of painting here with Spider-Man. Now we're going to see the biggest piece he had ever done, and I was around to see this from the beginning to the end. And this is the Balrog. This thing is probably about 2.5 feet tall. And there's Gandalf. "You shall not pass." And then we get into some of his woodworking, and this is what he did before he got into doing 3D printing, scroll saw work. did an amazing, just some amazing artwork there, and very delicate and intricate pieces. When his hands could not do scroll saw work anymore, that's when he went back to doing what started into 3D printing, and that's how I got to know him. I hope that you guys like that little glimpse into my friend's life and his hobbies, and I just wanted to honor him one more time if I could. Okay, let's see. When are his kids going to start printing? Actually, his kids are going to start printing very soon. They live in Ontario, in Cornwall, Ontario, so they're going to be taking back some of Peter's printers with them, and I'm going to get on the phone with them and help them through some of the problems. You want to print that now? Yeah, it's a big piece, man. Yeah, he had some very beautiful work. Hello, Dwit 3D. I did say hi to Matt Gurman. I don't think I missed anybody, did I? I think I got everybody here. Yeah, he did some beautiful work, and it was an honor to be his friend. So before I get any any more emotional, let's get back to what we're doing. So we left off. I had put in all the wires for the lighting system on the Stealthburner, and that's where we're going to continue on today from. I did go ahead and do a couple of things. We're going to have to prep one of the fans, or we need to have a fan that is prepped, and I'm just going to go to camera 1 here so you guys can see this. You'll notice that this fan doesn't have any clips on it, and when you get these 50-15 fans, typically they look like this. I got a couple here that are kind of stuck together. Typically they look like this. And you can see that they've got these screw holes in them, or places for screws to go through and hold them on. They also have these little clips that hold them together. So what you want to do is you want to remove the clips. You can remove them, or you can just kind of take them off a little bit, and they will release if you do it right. I don't necessarily do things right, but they will release. And then you can just pop them apart. So you're going to pop this cover off, and then you're going to trim off the screw holders that are on there. And that's what I've done to this fan already. I didn't want to bore you guys with taking it off and then you know, watch me sand some pieces. There's Mike Reynolds. Everybody say hello to Mike Reynolds. This is Peter's son. This is his first time tuning in. Mike, you just missed the little video that I put out for your dad. I hope that you got a chance to see it. If not, just rewind a little bit and you'll be able to see it and hear some of the things that I said about your dad. But this is where we're going to go with this fan. So this is the fan that we need for inside of our Stealthburner. We also need a 40-15 or a 40-10 fan, pardon me. These are both 24-volt fans that we're going to use. Mike is going to be getting into 3D printing along with his son, and I look forward to that. I look forward to helping them and helping them get started in the hobby and helping them move forward and do some amazing things like Mike's dad did. So yeah, we're going to use these two fans today, but first we have to get our lighting installed into this system. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Let's switch over to camera 3. We can see a little bit better. So all you simply do with these, there's slots that you're going to slot the little lights into. I'll grab this. So there's little slots that these PCB boards with the LEDs are going to go into. Then there's a channel here that you're going to run your wiring into. It can be a little bit difficult, so just take your time. Use some tweezers or a flat-headed screwdriver to help you get those wires down in that channel. I'm going to just pull them back just a little bit. There we go. And now I'm just going to thread them into that channel. And then they'll sit right down in there. Anybody who's seen a Voron built before will know that this is just one of those cantankerous parts of the build. And again, you don't want to pinch the wires in anything. You just want to get them down in there so that they stay out of the way when you go to put this in its final place. And we're going to be hopefully doing that today. All right, so we got those wires down in there. We got a little bit of wire sitting here. And just tuck that down in there. There we go. There we go. All right, so now we have those lights in there. Now we have our last light right here. And that requires a holder. I'm going to keep my eye on the chat as best I can. We're all watching and we got to see the video. Okay, great. I'm glad. Hey, there's Dune 591. Welcome, sir. Yeah, it is one of the more cantankerous parts, getting those those wires down in there. And again, you don't want to pinch them. I did have to do a little bit of off-camera work, but that's okay. So now we're going to take this holder, this little guy right here that you can see. We're just going to slide him into his final resting spot. And when we do this, we want to make sure that these wires are all pointing down, because we're going to need to take the last 3 wires that we use and we're going to have to solder them to another stage. Now, I already put the lens in there. You guys have seen that before. The lens is already in there. It's in place. It's a pain in the butt to do. I watched Tim do it over at Dwit 3D a few times, and I got to tell you, it is a real pain in the backside. So I just decided that I'm going to go ahead and put it in, and I had a bit of problems putting it in myself. So there we are. So now that we've got this done, you can see that there's a little bit of recess in here. Now, I suppose if you wanted to, you could take a little silver paint or silver tape and make this a little bit more reflective, but I don't think you do, because that's a nice little cob light that's in there. So now we're just going to take this holder, we're going to face it towards the front, and we're going to slide it into the hole. Now, Tim kept having problems with his, but I'm going to see if I can get it right down in there and get it into its spot. It looks like it's there. It's not going any further. All right, so now that we've got that where it's supposed to go, we still have some wiring that we have to take care of. So we're just going to go ahead and put that wiring down in the channel, get those wires out of our way. And we want to get these lighting wires in first, because we've got fan wires that we're going to need to put in as well. So let's get these lighting wires down in that channel. And something to persuade them. Now I'm using a flathead screwdriver here, just a mini electronic screwdriver, but you can use whatever you like, just as long as it's not sharp. You don't want to cut these wires. I'm having a hard time getting that one wire to go around the little lip. There we go. Now it's in. All right, so now we're going to do the green. Get that green wire in there. Because if you snip these wires or you clip these wires in any way, you are going to run into trouble. And we don't want that. We definitely don't want that to be a problem for us later on down the line. So let's get that one in there. The green one's in. Now finally the red one. And we'll get the red one tucked down in there. If you should happen to nick these wires, you may end up with an issue where the wires will not sit properly, and you will not get signal back to where you need them to go. Now we've got these 3 wires. They need to be routed back underneath here and then up through this area. So we're going to take those 3 wires and we're going to do that same thing. We're just going to tuck them in there and get them all where they need to be. So they're out of our road for our next step. And I have these giant hands, which does not make my job easy at all. But there we go. Well, that seemed easier than it was the first time I did it. All right, so there we go. So now we've got those wires routed the way that we want them. Okay, let's have a look and see what's going on here in the chat. Many of us are fat finger challenged. Yes, 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 we are. Yeah, I don't imagine a reflective surface would make any difference. I don't think it would either, in all honesty. Hey there, Shadell 3D. Welcome, Shadell. I missed you coming in somewhere. I missed you coming in. Yeah, just fingers. That's it, just fingers. All right, so the next thing that we need to do is we need to take our 40 mil fan, which is this guy right here, and we're going to route the 40 mil fan in here. And the idea here is that, again, you want to make sure that the direction of the fan is going in the right way. And some of these fans will have arrows on them in the direction in which they spin, in which they blow. And if they don't, usually where the sticker is, that's blowing in. So it's sucking air in towards this sticker. So we want to be able to pull air in. So the side that doesn't have the sticker is usually the side that is going to be for what we need it to do. So I'm going to just kind of tuck this in. Again, I'm going to try and tuck those wires in as best I can. Tim told me I would have problems with this, and he's not wrong. He's definitely not wrong about that. I am having a little bit of an issue trying to sort these wires in here. And you've got to push it up first and then kind of slide it in past. There we go. Now we're in. So there's our wire. It's nice and it's not overly taut there. We're going to take this red wire, we're going to tuck that back in there first. This is the toughest part of this. There we go. That one's locked back in there. Maurice, hello Maurice. He said, just saying a quick hi before I go to bed. Okay, Maurice. I was talking to Maurice earlier today, actually, and we were chatting a little bit about Polymaker filament. And Polymaker is not new to Canada, but they are fairly new to distributing in Canada on their own website. So they now have a Canadian website for anybody that doesn't know. Polymaker is also going to be a company that we're going to be using a lot here at the First Layer going forward. All right, so the other thing that we have to do, because we're going to be using this board here, we're using a separate board. Let's bring that into focus a little bit. This board is part of the Stealthburner daughter board that allows us to do all the electronics on the head to make things a little bit easier than you just going to unplug one cable. You're not unplugging a ton of cables. So we're going to use this board from LDO, I believe, or no, this is Heart. This is the Heart board. So we're going to show you how to do that in just a second, but first and foremost, we want to make sure that we have our wiring where we need it, because we have one more fan to put in, and that is this fan right here. So we're going to toss this fan in. Now there is, the way that these things blow air is that there is an area right here, and I don't know how well the camera is going to pick that up, but there's an area right here that blows down into a dual chamber that allows it to get part cooling on two sides. And we'll show you that in just a little bit. So first and foremost, we're going to take this fan, and we're going to drop it in there. There we go. And because of this board, these pins are usually a little too long, so I've had to snip them down, just trim them off a little bit, and I had to trim a little bit of plastic right here. Maybe one day somebody will redesign this cowl housing, and it'll be easier to put it in. But before we can do anything else, we need to do some soldering. And we are going to do some soldering. We've got our soldering iron all hooked up. Just going to check here and see what we've got going on in patience, my friend, patience. Yes, patience is a virtue. Tim Postman says, what happened to Canadian Maker Series PLA? That's a good question. I don't have an answer for that. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Keep asking me questions, guys, because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to answer your questions. All right, so I'm going to probably trim these wires a little bit for the lights because I don't think they need to be quite this long. So I'm going to trim them down just a little bit. There we go. I'll probably tuck the excess down in there, but let's go ahead and get our strippers out. Yes, it's a strippers kind of day. We have strippers today. We just want to keep these other ones out of our way so we don't grab them unnecessarily. There we go. Now I've got a lot of wire there. I don't quite need that much, but I am going to tin these wires. Maybe I'm just going to grab a little bit more off of there. There we go. I'm going to pre-tin these wires, which is something. Thank you, Sergio. Yes, please don't forget to smash that like button. I'm going to pre-tin these before I go any further. I know some of them are kind of long, but that's okay. I can trim them down after I've tinned them. Maybe I'll trim that one down just a little bit. And I'm just going to give them a quick little twist. Again, we're going to use our syringe of flux. I like this syringe. And we're going to clean the tip of our soldering iron. We have a nice clean tip on our soldering iron. And we'll grab some solder here and we will tin these. Real quick, like, let's tin the tip. There we go. Now I should have a fume extractor. I do not. So I get to huff all of those wonderful, those wonderful fumes. I'm going to actually do some tinning here on this board as well while I've got it out. I'll just put it here in my helping hands. And I know that I have to tin those two, those three, and those two. So the 24 volts. Again, let's grab a little bit of flux. A little flux on there. We're not fluxing around today. We're going to get this thing built. So on the next episode, we can go ahead and move to the electronics. Oh, you're funny guy. I'm not a funny guy. Tim Postma, okay. Hey everyone. Okay. Geez, I'm all caught up, or is nobody talking? Please talk. Ask questions. I am looking at the questions. So please ask questions. I don't know how well you guys can see what I'm doing here. But I'm going to just tin these all up. There we go. There we go. That's a nice little solder job. I don't do that very often. Build It Basement's on his cell phone today. Hello, Build It Basement. So now I'm going to start with these wires. Move this out of the way. I probably should take my Q-tip here, or a couple of Q-tips, and just clean off some of that additional flux. Oh, you found your keys. Good. I got a little bit of extra flux here. I'm just going to take that off. Inspect my solder job. Now, I normally wouldn't do this on the back of a fan, but there really isn't much of a choice, so I'm going to go ahead and do it this way. All right, so I know somebody's going to tell me that I'm doing it wrong, but that's okay. I know somebody's going to tell me I'm doing it wrong, but I'm going to secure this into place first. I'm going to take a couple of screws and just secure this into place so it doesn't move around on me while I'm trying to do this. Now I'm trying to do this as efficiently as possible, but I know there's going to be some guys in here that are going to tell me that I'm doing it wrong. Hey, there's Golden Jaguar. For anybody that doesn't know, Golden Jaguar, the Poor Boy channel, and Build It Basement, along with Dwit 3D, are all some fantastic builders. They all do custom builds for the most part. I'd say you're doing it wrong, but I don't know the right way it would be. That's okay, Mike. We'll teach you. We'll teach you. That's our job. Our job is to teach you. So we're going to start with our voltage wire, which is 5 volt for these lights. And we're just going to get that one on there. Tuck those two out of the way. And it shouldn't take much to get those to sit. There we go. And then we're going to take our green wire. Let's see if we can't straighten that green wire up just a little bit. Make sure you're positive on your polarity. Yes, I already did that. I double checked. I did double check that. Now I'm going to get this one in there. That one is down, and finally our black one can be trimmed down a little bit. There we go. I don't like a lot of excess wire hanging off of things. That's just me. Kind of always felt that too much wire can be a bit of a pain in the butt. We're going to take this one, and we're just going to drive that down in there. There we go. And that one is on. Audio today is perfect. Thank you very much. Smoke them if you got 'em. Yeah, that's true. Smoke them if you got them. All right, so now that we've got those wires in there, we can kind of tuck the excess down because we don't need to put anything more in there, but we are going to take this wire, which is for our fan, and there's on this board there's two fans. There is the cooling fan and the hot end fan, and this fan here up the top, this is our cooling fan, and this is our hot end fan. What this does is this blows air onto the heat sink of our hot end to keep it cool. So we know that we need to do a little bit of work here on these fans. I'm going to do the top fan first. So I'm going to cut off the excess that I don't need. That should be good right about there. I'm going to give it a little stripping. Oh, okay, let's hold that in. There we go, a little stripping. A little separation. I used to be really good at this, but not so much anymore. Geraldine Ham, my wife, everybody say hello to my wife today. She says, I'd say that if no one has said you're doing it wrong yet, then you're not doing it wrong. Enough for it not to work. Okay, yeah. Just watch out for the magic blue smoke. Yep. I always do try and keep an eye out for magic blue smoke. I don't think we're going to get to quite that testing phase yet today, but we will. And again, I think I'm just going to quickly tin these. They could use a little bit of a tinning, so we'll get out our magic paste. And we'll just put a little magic paste on there. Oh, look at that. Come on, get off of there. I might need to get myself a new one of those. There we go. A little bit on that one, and we'll put a little bit on that one. And positive always goes to 24 volts on here. And then the negative will go to the signal wire. So I'm going to do that one first, because it's the easiest. And there we go. I believe we're stuck down. Nope, not quite yet. Let's try that again. There we go. Now we're there. Now we'll just do this one. And I'm just going to make sure that I got a nice clean area between the traces. So there we go. That can go down in there now. And that won't affect anything, I hope. And now we got one more to do, and that is this wire right here. And we're going to just kind of cut that, tin that. Just kind of pull that out of there so I can work with it a little bit more. What does this video only have 5 lines? What do you mean it only have 5 likes? Oh, 5 likes. No, it's got 17 likes. It has 17 likes, I think. I don't think I'm wrong about that. Make it easy on myself and pre-split it. But thank you for reminding people to like the video. Hey, there's KB3D, my good friend Chris, or my new good friend Chris, down from KB3D in the US. Hey, listen, I want to take a moment because we're already halfway into this to recognize the people that have helped me get to this point in the build, and they are as follows. Wow, finally back. Hard to reboot the PC. Oh, gremlins. LDO Motors, Big Tree 3D, Big Tree Tech, or BQ3D, I'm sorry, E3D, Fadus, 3D Lab Tech, KB3D, Keen Village Plastics, Dwit 3D Canada, and Build It Basement. Without their help, I could not have been able to do this build as fast as I'm doing it. It probably would have been my summer build. However, they all came through and helped me do this. This, for those that are new here and don't know, this build is in honor of my friend Peter, Michael's father. Peter and I became very good friends very quickly, and I learned a lot about him. I learned more about him on Friday than I'd ever known about him, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. He was an amazing man, father, husband, and just all around nice guy. People in his neighborhood loved him because he would stop and talk to everybody. He had a wonderful heart, huge heart. I can't say enough good things about him. And I know I keep going on, but I'm sorry, that's just the way life is. All right, so let's get these last 2 wires on, then we can button this up and move on to the next stage. All right. I just want to make sure I have good connection here. And I do. Okay. So that now can get tucked down. All of this wire can be just kind of tucked down in there. So now we've got our cover finished. Okay. Let's see if I can get that into camera. So now we've got our cover finished. So where do we go from here? Well, when we look at, I'm going to have a quick peek here. There was a great Twilight Zone episode about gremlins. Yep. Well, I can see my stream elements is working. So we got all the lights in, we've got the board in. Now I believe we can go ahead and start mounting this thing. Oh, no, we got one more thing that we have to do. And it doesn't require soldering, but it does require some crimping. Now that we're through the strip, well, we're not through the strippers yet. We still have lots of strippers. Hey, there's Braden Reynolds. Everybody say hello to Braden Reynolds. Braden is Michael's son and Peter's grandson. Please give him a warm welcome to our stream. I think this is the first stream he's been on as well. We will teach you more about him, Richard. Okay, thank you very much, Braden. I look forward to learning more about your dad. I really do. All right, so what I've done here is I had some 3-conductor wire, which is the same type of wire that is used on the sensor that you would normally be putting on this. Here, let's go to the right camera. How's that? So we would normally be putting this sensor on, which is, what is this? This is a Zorgon or some sort of brand name. Is Braden in Ontario as well? He will be back in Ontario very soon, but yes, Braden lives in Ontario as well. So the wire that comes off this is a 3-conductor wire, has brown, black, and blue. We're going to decide which ones we're going to use on here. It doesn't really matter what order we put them in, as long as that they're the same on the other end as well. But we're not going to use this sensor. We are going to use the clicky sensor. We are going to, our friends at Andy over at 3D Lab Tech brought us over this wonderful PCB for the clicky probe. And I printed out the part in silver. I had some silver ABS here, so I printed it out. And it makes putting the clicky probe together so much easier. I know that when you do a traditional clicky probe, there's a lot of bending wires and getting them in the right position. But in this case, all we got to do is we got to make a plug. So we are going to make a plug. out of this chunk of wire here. I could have gone longer, but I don't really need to, because all I have to do is go from down on the, all I have to do is go from down here all the way up to the board, which is going to sit right in about here somewhere. So I don't need a ton of wire. I probably got too much here now. Oh yeah, I've got more than enough. So I'm going to get this first jacket off. Let's get the first jacket off. There we go. And we'll open up those. And this is like a silicone wire. This is actually pretty nice. This is pretty nice wire. So now I'm just going to take these and open them up a little bit, because we're going to have to crimp some connectors on here. Come on now. There we go. There we go. So I think I have enough wire here. We're going to crimp some connectors. Let's do the other side as well. Braden was born in Calgary. Wow. Okay. Even I didn't know that. Thank you very much for that, Tim Postma. That means a lot. That means a lot. All right, so this is the toughest part here. We're going to run for a couple hours today, so we're not going to end at 3 like we normally do. We are going to probably end at 4 today, and I know that after I'm done my stream, there's about an hour break. And then Tim from Dwit 3D Canada will be on. And he will be talking about his stuff. So where did I, there it is. That's what I need. I need that. Okay. So in the package with the clicky probe, you get your pins. Rich, lost your hair. Yeah, I lost my hair. I lost my hair. They don't give you many more than 3 pins or 3 plugs, but we'll get through it. We'll get through it. That's okay. No big deal. If you'd like to, you can join our Discord. Our Discord is up and running, and the link that you see there does not expire. I made that available so that it does not expire for anybody. The Discord runs all the time. There's always somebody in there. We're still building it out. So, you know, if you've got something that you would like to add to the Discord, there's plenty of rooms there. If you want to talk about your favorite filament, you want to talk about your favorite builder, you want to talk about printers. If you need help with printers, there's plenty of people that are on our Discord that will definitely be able to help you. We also have a Facebook page, and we have, of course, YouTube and Twitch. And I know I'm not looking at the camera, but I'm going to put my strippers away for a moment because I don't need them. I'm going to shut that down because I don't need to do any soldering at the moment. But I do need to grab my crimpers. My crimpers. Here we go. Everybody needs to be a little crimped. Ben, gotta run. Ender 3 isn't happy. Oh, I'm sorry, Ben. Go take care of your Ender 3. So I'm just going to pop that in there. Let's see, let's go to cam 1. You guys can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm just going to pop this in here. Try and do it the right way, Mr. Cleveland, because you tend to do things bass-ackwards sometimes. I have these huge fingers, and getting these in here sometimes can be a bit of a challenge. because you don't want to crush the pin. I want to make sure that you don't crush that pin that locks it in place. Okay, so there we go. All right, let's get a pin on these. And you're only going to go in so far, just enough to grab that insulation. You don't need much, but you want to grab the insulation. I'm just going to pull those other two out of the way. And because I'm old, I have to look. Now, some people have trouble getting these out, and I do too at times. But that is a good crimp. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but that's a good crimp. Let me see if I can. I probably could have done that, but that's okay. I have a little bit long wire here, but let me see if I can take you guys here and show you that crimp. That's actually a pretty good crimp. I'm not disappointed in that at all. I wish I had more light there. I should probably put a light over here. Bill the Business says I have trouble with the double crimpers. I don't. I actually find them pretty easy to use. Just takes practice. And when I did my first Voron, believe you me, when I said there was a lot of crimping, there was a lot of crimping. There was a ton of crimping. And when I helped Peter do his Voron, there was a lot of crimping. I think we spent probably 2 days getting all the wires crimped for his. I like crimping. It's a skill. Golden Jaguar. That was not a good crimp. Okay. So let's see. Do we have any more of these sitting around somewhere? We do. Well, of course we do. We're just going to borrow from Peter to pay Paul here, because it is the same size. So we're just going to borrow from Peter here to pay Paul. Take one of these because we have a lot. There we go. Yeah, crimping is a skill. It does take a lot to do this just right. Tim says, like crimping, because crimping can make you mine. Tim's singing again. Tim, is that crimping or pimping? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you're crimping or pimping, Tim. I'm not sure if you're crimping or pimping. There we go. Now we're going to do the last one. Come on now. Don't be like that. Get in the crimper. There we go. And we'll get that last one on there. Well, one makes you money and the other doesn't. That is very true. Okay, that's on there. All right, so before I go and put it into the housing, I like to make sure that I still have continuity to the other end. So I'm just going to open this up. We'll get a little stripping going on here. Get a little stripping going on here. We'll open these up a little bit. Crafts by Jazzy. There's the lovely Jazzy. Another one of our our new members. Everybody say hello to Jazzy. For those of you that don't know, she is an artist in her own right. I don't know how much she does in 3D printing, but she has somebody who does 3D printing for her, and she does painting, I believe. She does a number of other things. So let's grab our multimeter here. We're just going to check continuity to make sure that we've got continuity on anything. Okay, Tim Postma, thank you. We'll see you again real soon. So I'm just going to do that. Get the other end. Make sure that we have continuity. Come here. That one's got continuity, so we got good contact there. Now onto the blue one. Yep. And the last one is the brown one. And we got good there. Okay. So how much wire are we actually going to need? Let's put this into its holder now, because that's important. And I'm just going to go in order here. It is black, blue, and brown. So that's the order I'm going to put them into the holder. So black, blue, and we'll get that brown one started as well. We get them all up in there. We'll just make sure that that connector is on there. So we've got the connector on there, black, blue, and brown. Now, I suppose I could put a little bit of heat shrink around that if I really wanted to, but I don't think it's really necessary to do that. I'm going to leave this long right now. I'm going to get this printer turned around so that I can start working on it here a little bit. And I'll adjust the camera so you guys can see what's going on. I may have to actually move this over a little bit. Let's get these benchies out of here because we don't need them. Those aren't part of what we're doing today. That was for another project. We'll get all the excess gear out of here that we don't need. That's turned off. Let's go to the wide shot real quick. We'll move this because we don't need this, and we'll put this fan back in here as well because we're going to use these on another project. All right, so we have our elements that we need. We've got our motor set up. We are going to have to do some crimping on the motor here as well, so we're going to have to put a connector on there because this one's way too long. So we're just going to shorten that down, and we'll do that in a little bit as well. This is our hot end. We don't really have a ton of stuff to do on here. I don't think we've got to really move anything. We may have to put a different connector on the end there, but that's, like I said, that's something that we can worry about a little bit later on. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and trim these wires. I'm going to just readjust this camera here so that we can see what's going on. You guys can see the mess in the studio. Come on now, where are you? There we go. That's what we're working on right now. Let's zoom out just a little hair there. You see what we're going to be doing here. Okay. Adjusting cameras. Yay. All right, so we haven't gone ahead and adjusted any of our belts yet, but we do need to trim off some stuff here. So let's just switch to camera 3. So we have to trim off these belts, which we have not done yet, and I'm going to use something a little bit sharper than the snippers that I have been using. I'm just going to use these ones right here. I'll leave myself a little bit of A little bit extra in case I need it later. There we go. So this is just excess belt we can get rid of. And now that part is done. So let's go ahead and put our little guy in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to be setting this guy right in here like so. And we're going to just screw him in. There is a backing plate for it as well. And we have some screws set aside. I believe that it is these guys right here that I have set aside for this application. Take these, and these are M3 by 12s, I believe, M3 by 12s. And we're going to take the first one and put it through there. Just get it set up on the back of this. And we're losing stuff already. Where did you go, little piece? I made extra in case I lost one. I did hear it hit something. And where did you hit? Not anywhere I'm going to find you, obviously. Oh well. That's why I made extras. That's why I made extras. And we have our little guy here. Is he even plugged in? Oh yeah, he's plugged in. And this is our... Yep, there's a light on there. So this little gadget, for anybody that doesn't know, is a gadget that Mr. Dwit found. Dwit 3D Canada, he found it online. And yeah, it's probably where the end, the sock goes. Yeah, that's right. I agree with you on that one, Mike. Where the missing socks always end up. We're gonna need some inserts. Lord knows we have lots of inserts, so we don't need a ton. There we go. I'm going to take a couple inserts. We're going to put a couple inserts in here, and then we'll be able to do this again. Yeah, that's for sure. Then it's probably where all the socks end up. Now this is quite far down, so I'm going to lift it up a little bit. I have at least I had something that I could use. I'll just use a box here. What the heck? I don't know what I did with my little piece of tile that I had, but okay. I'm just going to put this box on here. We have a couple of inserts. Let's grab those. But this little insert tool, this thing works great. I love this thing. Thanks again to Dwit 3D Canada for finding it. And we're just going to let that do the work that it has to do to melt that in there. Probably not the best box. I could have probably used something that was a little less pliable, I suppose. And why is that? Doesn't seem to want to be going in much further than that. Let's put it on the corner, see if we can get a little bit more. It's kind of warm near my fingers. That's okay. Come on. I know you're warm. Yep, you're warm. But why are you not going all the way through? Oh, I know why. I know why. Because I'm at the end of my rope. You can't go any further. There we go. There we go. Oh, geez. That's nice and soft. Watch that. These aren't very big pieces, so they can get soft really, really quickly. And you really want to watch it because they get warm really quickly as well. So I'm going to do this. Come on now. I don't want to put a ton of pressure on it, but I do want it to stay as flat as possible. So, ow, 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 ow. Yep, ow. That's warm. Okay, let's put you aside for now. We don't need you. Ow, 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 ow. Ow, ow, ow. Yep, that's still warm. All right, so we're going to have to set this guy back in here. We're going to have to get our screwdriver, or our hex wrench in this case. Get that set up. Let's go to camera 3 so you guys can see what I'm trying to accomplish here. And once we get the first one in, we can work on the second one. And now we got the second one in. All right, so now this is kind of low. I know in the instructions it says for the other one to be 6 mils below the surface, but this guy does not need to be that low. So I'm going to just tighten that up, bring it up as much as I can, and then just tighten it up. There we go. And the wire that we made, which is this guy right here, we're going to go ahead and plug in. And we just want to make note that when you plug this in, you want to make sure that you're in the right order, because when you go to redo this side of the wire, you want to make sure that you are putting them in the right spot. So in my case, if I look at it from the pin side, I can see that's black, blue, brown. So black, blue, brown. I'm just going to take that, pop that in there, lining it up, and snapping it into place. And I believe that's where it goes. And now we're just going to run this cable up and off to the side. All right. So now we got that in there. Shadell, I don't see how you can say that was warm. I don't feel a thing. You know, this is why we don't let Shadell on our streams anymore, because he thinks he's funny. No, we love Shadell. Shadell is from not Nova Scotia. I know I'm going to be swearing when I say that. He's from Newfoundland, which is on our east end of Canada. And he is a great guy. I really like hanging out with him online, and he's just funny. Shawdell 3D, all right, see you later. Who is leaving? Bum, 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 bum. Shawdell's leaving? Oh, no, don't leave, Shawdell. You don't have to leave. We love having Shawdell, don't we? So I need an M3 by 8. We're going to put our bit on here. And we will get that. So we need an M3 by 8, which goes through there. And then we're probably going to need an M3 by 8 that goes through there. And we have some M3 by 8s. We actually have a bunch of them. Where are our M3 by 8s? M3 by 16s. This one will be our M3 by 8s. We have a whole bunch of M3 by 8s. Get our first one in there. And this is going to go on here, like so, I believe. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong, because something doesn't feel right about this. Why does that not feel right? Why does that not feel right? Ah, there we go. That looks better. Get that one in. There we go. First one's in. Oh, I know why. Let's just turn this around. Because we don't have this wire down. That's why it feels so wrong. Feels so wrong, feels so right. I kissed a girl and I liked it. Shot says, don't let me in streams. There we go. We're going to toss that one down there. Okay. Getting this right can be a bit of a pain in the backside, I believe. Sitting too high right there. Oh. Okay, fellas, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? There we go. Now we're in. I felt it slide in. There we go. Now we're in. We're going to take another M3 by 8 and we're going to put it in the other side. If any great amount of luck, we'll find that hole. There we go. And that is in there, nice and snuggaroo. What's next? Now we're going to take our hot end and we are going to slide that up into where it's supposed to go. We're going to slide that up into where it's supposed to go. Okay. One side wants to go in, but the other one does not. It's not a wiring thing. Oh, there we go. There we go. It's in now. It's in now. There we go. So now we got that on there. And now our last thing to put on is the cover. And we will need some M3 by 25s and some M3 by 50s. So let's go to the M3 by 25s for starters, and we know where those are. Those are down here. We have a couple of M3 by 50s as well that we're going to use, and some M3 by 25s. So now this just hangs in there, just so you know, this is going to hang in there. And then there's two screws that kind of hold this into place to keep your hot end. And then there's two screws that will go through and will lock it all into place at the end. All right, so now we're going to take this guy and we're going to plug him in. Now he should, no, that's not sitting right. Oh, that's because those wires are down too low. We need to tuck those wires up in there. So now we got those wires tucked up in there. That should go on just like that. There we go. And let's put our M3 by 25s in first, which go in here. And on this side. And that one is tight. You don't have to over tighten these. That's just another, that's just something I want to reiterate, that you don't have to over tighten these because you don't want to crush anything. You definitely want to make sure that everything is just snug. You don't have to get crazy on it. And now we've got our two M3 by 50s, which will go in here and tie everything together. And a smart guy would have done this with his electric screwdriver, but that's okay. Now, if I had been thinking, I would have done this in two blue colors that were my friend Peter's favorite colors. Peter was a true fan of blue, and he liked blue, all different shades of blue. So what I've decided to do is, while this one is going to remain purple and black, when I redo Peter's printer, because I am going to redo his 350 and bring it up to the current R2 spec. And when I do that, I want to take all of the parts that are on it, take them off, and go ahead and make them, why does that not feel like it's connected? Okay, this one is in. I want to do it in two-tone blue. Why does that not feel like it's going in there? Because it is not going in there. I can see it on the side here. I don't know how well you guys can see that or not. No, you can't. I'm gonna have to move the camera so you guys can see that. I'll just move that up. Zoom out just a bit. Now, you may not be able to see that, but the two screws are not lining up properly with the two bits that are there, so I'm just going to pull them out. Or pull them back and just make sure that that lines up properly. There we go. Now that should find that screw hole. Feels like it did. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'll just make sure that it's got that on the other side. Almost fell out of my stool. Now, did you guys ever have this much problem putting this together? I think Tim did, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. There we go. No, we're in those holes. Nice and snug now. There we go. All right, so our hot end is now on. What we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to wire it all up into the board, but I'm gonna save that for another time. I'm gonna save that for another time. I think that let's take some time today while we still have it. I'm going to answer your questions about 3D printing. I'm going to take some time to answer your questions about 3D printing projects. Any questions? I can get my tricky, gotta make sure it's pushed up high enough for the holes to align. Yeah, that's the one thing I was just off just a hair. But now I've got it exactly where it needs to be, so it is now aligned. I'm going to do all of this kind of wiring off camera. I don't think I need to do all of this wiring on camera, so I'm going to do it off camera. And then we will, I'll come back next time when we meet on Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, because we're going to get ready to start putting the electronics in and doing all the wiring, getting our end stops on, getting our end stop down here on, getting the rest of the clicky probe put in. Clicky probe doesn't take much. There's only a couple of parts that we have to do, and I believe I've got them on the table here. I do. We need a couple of inserts to go into this part right here. And then we're just going to drive a couple of screws in. Boom, there's the second half of our clicky probe. If you guys want to see me do that, you know what? We can actually do that while I keep an eye on the chat, and we go from there. Let's do that. So let's get some of this stuff off the table that we don't need at the moment, because this portion of the clicky probe does not need anything other than some screws. So I'm going to get that set up right now. We'll put a couple of inserts in here, seeing as I still have the inserts out. We'll go to camera 1 so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. Bring the insert mechanism over. We'll turn it back on. Again, I want to thank all of our sponsors: LDO Motors, BQ3D, Big Tree Tech, E3D, Fadis, 3D Lab Tech, KB3D, Keen Village Plastics, Dwit 3D Canada, who printed all my parts for me, and Build It Basement, who helped us out with our heated bed because he had an extra one. And I'm really excited about the way this is coming together. I couldn't be happier. It is exactly what I was hoping for, and it's not quite the exact color scheme I wanted, but you know what? That's okay. I don't mind having a little bit of gray or in this case, a little bit of silver, that purple and the black. The little bits of gray or silver, pardon me, look great. I think they look just fantastic. So it's now a matter of getting the belts tightened up, and then we can move on to doing our final wiring, getting all of our electronics in place and things like that. So we're just going to go ahead and put a couple of inserts in here. 3D Life, Ben Brady, how are you? Where's 3D Life? All right, let's see if we've got enough heat going on here. Just drive those down. You see, I don't put a lot of pressure on here, just enough to heat up that insert, get that insert down, and boom, we're in. Let's do the next one. Now I'm hoping that Mike and Braden at some point in time in their 3D printing journey will think about maybe building a printer for themselves. I do hope that, you know, that's one of the things that they think about doing, because it is something that is an amazing journey to go on. We've got our two inserts in there. We're just going to let them cool a little bit, and then we'll put the rest of our clicky together. I'm really hoping that Mike and Braden will at some point in time decide to build a 3D printer from the ground up, and maybe they will. And I hope that you know, after a year or two of playing with the CR10s that they got from Peter, and that they will at some point in time decide that they want to try their hand at this. This is, again, this is not for the faint of heart, and I got that one in just a little bit crooked. Let me see if I can straighten that out a little bit. There we go. There we go. It's definitely not for the faint of heart, but I know that Mike and Braden are very adventurous people, and that they will at some point in time want to take on a challenge like this. And my recommendation to get them started would probably be, instead of jumping into something as big as this, or even the one that Mike's father built, I would probably recommend that they start with a 0. It's a smaller machine. It's a fun machine. It can be taken anywhere. That's something we will certainly be doing, Mike says, and Braden says the same thing, absolutely. I think that, you know, as they get to know more about 3D printing, and that's what, you know, you guys that have been with me for a long time, that tune in every week, you guys know that this channel is all about helping people with their 3D printing journey. That's what it was designed to be. Geraldine Ham says she wants a 0 as well. Devin Bonzer says, sorry I'm late. It's okay, Devin, we still got time. We've got about a half an hour here. We're just going to BS a little bit and talk a little bit about what we got coming up. So right now we're just kind of putting together the little bit of the clicky probe that we have to do. But I needed some inserts in there. It's not much to do, just basically putting it on the back here. But In any case, yeah, the idea is that I think that that would be a great thing for them to do, and I think that when they're ready, I will guide them through. And as far as the channel goes, again, this channel was designed to help people through their 3D printing journey. When I started in this, I knew virtually nothing. I was an idiot. And I made a lot of mistakes when I got started. And the one thing, for any advice that I can give to anybody that's getting started in this hobby, don't be afraid to make mistakes, because you're gonna make a lot of them. Don't let it frustrate you, don't let it get you down. Anybody in this room, I can tell you from my own experience that they've all experienced the same things I did. Many people in this room today have been with me since the beginning. Gary T has been with me for a long time, as well as Dwit 3D Canada. Ben Brady, been with me a long time as well. And at the end of the day, they all went through this as well. And I'm sure Shadell went through it, 3D Life has gone through it, John Bima went through it. We all kind of, and there's probably many more names in here that I could say went through it, but I can tell you that everybody has gone through this journey, and we all still make problems. The poor boy channels, he says, I make them live all the time. He says, poor boy this is his second printer, and he decided, because he does drone frames, and that's something that I believe that Mike and Braden want to get into, is building drone frames and other things with 3D printing. They're taking home 2 CR10 V3s, or they're either V3s or they're CR10 version 2s. I can't remember which. But they are taking 2 of those home to experiment with. They've got lots of PLA and lots of PETG to take home back to Ontario with them from here. And they're going to have problems, and they're going to run into them. They're going to have clogs, and they're going to have failed prints. And I'm hopefully I can be there to help them through them. And they have my number, so it's pretty easy to get a hold of me. Let's see what's going on here in the chat. SK3D says, the idiot stage is where I am now. We all go through that stage, but we can't get ourselves down. John Bima, he says, went through it or still have those days. Yeah, I still have those days. Yeah. As I was saying, the poor boy channel, he's now building himself a Voron after having a printer, and he's fairly technically advanced, I think. He's doing a good job on his printer. He's got the community behind him to help him. Devin, he says, I'm not going to lie, I made plenty of mistakes when I started 3D printing hobby and still learned a lot along the way. Yeah, I still learn. I've been doing this, well, I've been 3D printing for over 7 years now, coming up on 8. And I've been doing this channel for almost 6 years. And I can tell you that I still make mistakes, and it's not anything to be ashamed of. There's a whole community, and that's exactly what I wanted to build, was a community of people that could help one another. Some might be more advanced than others, some might not be advanced as others, but they may have overcome an issue that you're trying to overcome now. And I am going to get back to, once this is done, I will be getting back to doing those tutorial videos. This one just seems, this one corner, I don't know why, this one just keeps wanting to go down, but I'll fix that. Let's see what did Mike say? Braden and I are at the idiot stage, but we will learn. We like spaghetti because mistakes are how you learn. Yes, that's exactly right. Absolutely. Need to print that heat set insert rig. How do you like it? I actually am really enjoying this heat insert rig, and I can't thank Tim enough for finding it over at Dwit 3D Canada. If you haven't subscribed yet to Dwit 3D Canada, please do so. Also, I would recommend that you subscribe to Golden Jaguar 3D, Build It Basement, the Poor Boy channel. These are all channels that I highly recommend for especially people that are new, because for guys like myself and Tim who have been doing this for a while now, we make mistakes. These guys still make mistakes. They're doing stuff that's a little bit more on the build side, which is absolutely fine. I think that's great. And I'm going to get back to doing, you know, some stuff with pre-assembled, for the most part, printers. And that's going to be a big part of it. We're going to show you, again, I've been holding off on doing the Hero Me Gen 7 introduction and build just till I get this done. This is kind of my priority right now because Maker Faire is coming up. Maker Faire will be here before we know it. I've got a birthday coming up as well. My wife has a birthday coming up as well. So, you know, there's a lot going on. So we're going to try and get all of that stuff taken care of. Let's see, what do we got going on here? Yeah, poor boy's building the Trident 250 right now. It's a little bit smaller than this, a little bit different kinematic system. But for the most part, it is still a Core XY. Dwit 3D says, I get daily moments, just rebuilt my Stealthburner while watching and forgot the heat. He said inserts. Shadell, he says, I tease poor boy about doing it inside out. He's a good sport. If you need somebody to keep you on the right track that will tease you, Shadell is the guy to do it. Beginning the middle of June, be 1 year of being in the 3D hobby, Devin says. Wow. Right on, Devin. Right on. The poor boy, the Trident inside out, bass backwards. Voron, LOL. Build its basement. I challenge you, Rich, DeWitt 3D, Golden Jaguar to a build off if we can find someone to fund it. I will accept that challenge. I'm sure the other guys will accept that challenge as well. Yeah, Mike Braden, anybody that is new here that hasn't, you know, gone and checked out those other channels, I highly recommend that you do. They're fun. You got great guys like let me just talk about Jeff at the Poor Boy channel for a moment. Jeff has such an easy way of speaking. He's from North Carolina. He's just so easy to speak or listen to. And it is a joy to watch him build. You grab yourself a cup of coffee and just hang out. It's a lot of fun. And then there's Loudmouth me, and then there's Tim, who's always kind of joking around and hurting himself. And then there's Golden Jaguar. Funny kid. He finds laughter in everything. I know he's not a kid. He's in his 30s, but to me, he's still a kid. Because I'm in my late 50s, so he's still a kid to me. But all these guys, they all have something unique to offer. Build It Basement. He's got a nice dry sense of humor, very much like myself, only younger. Gary T says, the first layer, why did you pick this version of the Voron? I chose this version because I missed my last one. I missed the first one that I did, and I really liked that printer. It worked well, and I wanted to build another one, and it was kind of my way of getting back to doing another one. Although this time I decided I wanted to put more current technology into it. I think I will probably, after I get this one done, I'm going to strip down Peter Reynolds' old 350, bring it up to current spec, and I'm going to redo all the parts in a two-tone blue. Really make it look like Peter envisioned it. I know exactly what he was envisioning, but he couldn't make it exactly the way that he wanted to do, so I'm going to try and do that in honor of him. We'll put that to use here in the studio. We're going to use it all the time. We're going to use this one all the time. We are going to pare down some of our other printers at some point, and just have maybe 4 different printers. We'll have the Voron, the 2 different Vorons here. We'll have CR10 and probably the Ender 3 or the Lulzbot. I'm not sure which yet, but we'll do one of those. I don't want to embarrass you guys, but hey, If it benefits the community, I'm in. Oh, good. So Tim's in for the challenge. Good, good. John Byman says, maybe the challenge should be to pay for your printer yourself. LOL. Well, that might be a way to go. One of the things that I think we talked about that we'd like to do is to take the printer that we do in this challenge, and we've been talking about this, an idea of this for a number of weeks, that we'd like to take the new printer that we build, not this one, but the one that we do in the challenge, and donate it to somebody who could use it, who's new to 3D printing, in a mentorship kind of program, or to a makerspace that could use it and have them do a mentorship program, or something along that line. Bring in somebody from the community who wouldn't normally have the opportunity to go to a makerspace because they can't afford it or whatever, but give them the opportunity in exchange for us giving them the printer to bring somebody in and teach them on 3D printing, and maybe show them maybe some other skills that they may not have the opportunity to be educated on. And I think that would be a great idea to do, because I know some of the schools won't take printers like this, even though they're quite safe, because they don't meet certain government standards. So we're talking about maybe donating it to maker spaces in our local area. I have a maker space that I would that I'm kind of working with behind the scenes right now. Yay, LEDs sounds cool. He would love it. LEDs? LEDs. I'm not sure. Braden, what are you talking about? LEDs. Sounds cool. Yeah, LEDs. We're going to put LEDs in, if that's what you're after. Yeah, and somebody who doesn't, maybe some blue LEDs. Yes. Oh, yes, some blue LEDs. Yes. I think what I'll do is probably put RGB LEDs in them and then program LEDs to go blue at a certain time. I'm going to do that with this one too, so it'll give me kind of a leg up when I go to work on the other one. I want to put RGB LEDs in this one to, first of all, when it's heating, that they're red. So it shows that it's heating. When it's ready to print, it will turn blue, or in my case, I'll have it turn purple. And then for when it's printing, it will again go to red. And when it is green, then you'll know that the print is ready to be taken off the bed, and all the fumes have been extracted or cleaned out of the chamber. So I am going to use different colored lights to do that. I think that using blue LEDs while it's printing is probably a good idea. Or white LEDs while it's printing. That might be a way to go, and then use blue as another one of the signal colors. Or when it's in a standby mode, it can be blue. I think that's always good. That's always a good one. Question, how is your hexi wall decoration you've been printing and working on? It is coming along, Devin. I have some over there. I haven't been able to get to it since I've been trying to get stuff ready for Maker Faire, and I've been working on this. These are kind of my priorities at the moment, but I will be going back to them very, very soon. Okay. Question, Shadell, have you seen Build It Basement's builds? I'm sure he can take a joke. Yes. Yes, he has some great builds. Maybe tie it into Twitch, then people can redeem channel points to challenge the color. Oh yeah, okay. Peter turns them blue. At the first layer, turns them purple. Oh yes, that's right. I could tie it into Twitch. Once we get some more colors back here too, I could tie them into the colors in the studio as well. So I am working on Twitch a little bit more. I'm just a little cautious about Twitch at the moment. Maybe that's just me. Cooking dinner. He was cooking dinner. I figured he could. Yeah. Yeah. No. Builded Basement, Poor Boy Channel, Golden Jaguar, Dwit 3D, myself, we can all take a joke. If we couldn't take a joke, this is the wrong hobby to be in. That's for sure. That is for sure. Yeah, it's I'm pretty happy with the way that this has come together so far. I know that there's still a little ways to go to get it to do what I want it to do. Just making sure that everything kind of lines up nice. I still have these wires. I'm going to have to get these wires to the right lengths and plug them into the right spots and that sort of thing. And I will do that probably over the next day or two, get them all plugged in, and then we can start on doing the electronics, which is next. I really am excited about doing the electronics on this. We got a wonderful harness from Lineo, and I haven't mentioned them. I should have put them in the sponsors underneath, but Lineo supplied us with a custom-built wiring harness for this printer. We are going to be using the Manta M8P controller board, main controller board, and we are going to be using the CB1. Both of those come from our friends at Big Tree Tech, BQ3D, whichever you prefer. And then they're going to go into this machine along with a nice big 5-inch touchscreen on the front. And I'm not sure if I want to put the touchscreen down at the bottom or I want to put the touchscreen kind of at the top. I haven't decided yet. And we got those parts thanks to Chris over at KB3D. He reached out to Lineo, and Lineo decided they wanted to help out with this build. And this will be completely finished in the next couple of weeks. We'll be testing it, we'll be programming it, and we are going to do the final unveil of this printer at Maker Faire in honor of Peter. And that's going to be kind of an emotional thing as well. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and we want to unveil, or I want to unveil it there. And at the same time, when this goes there, I've got a plaque that I'm working on that is going to go right onto one of the front doors. That will signify that this is done in Peter's memory. So that will be going on the 13th. That'll be the final touch, and I want to put that on at the fair. So what else? What else do I want to talk about? Let's have a look and see what's going on here. Build a Basement says, Voron versus P1P drag race. Yes, we are going to have a drag race. I got to get my secret weapon to help me out with getting the programming done on this so that we can get the most out of this. We're going to use the E3D Revo Voron hot end on this one. I do have a high flow from Dragon, Fetus Dragon. They sent me one of their Fetus X Voron high flow nozzles or hot ends, which I'm going to put onto Peter's original machine. It'll be part of the upgrades I put over there. We will be putting on a high-end motherboard into that machine as well. We're going to strip out some of the older electronics and put in all brand new electronics, bring it right up to date and give it the most technology that we can. And we'll put the high flow hot end on there, and we'll put in a bunch of LEDs and really make it look special. And I'll take a bunch of pictures of before and after. I don't think I'll do that one on streams. I think I'll probably do that one privately, because I've got a lot of other videos I have to get to that are in the realm. But I will document that journey, and I will probably put it up on Facebook, through our Discord, and on Instagram. That will be a big one on Instagram as well. Let's see what's going on here. Dwit Canada says, ooh, I'm shaking. Dwit and I have been teasing each other about our printers now for a couple of months since we decided to do this, and I'm pretty happy about what's going on there, and it's all in good fun. It's all in good fun. Builded Basement says, Rule 1, same G code. Rule 2, must start with a cold printer. That's exactly what we talked about, and that's the way it is. A Gary T question, how much money can you save by self-sourcing the parts? Self-sourcing the parts, it all depends on where you're self-sourcing them from. I know that I bought a lot of things for my first build on AliExpress, and I saved myself probably pretty close to about 200 bucks after everything was said and done. And I completely self-sourced that. There was nobody that came and helped with that build financially or with parts. But I did save about 200 bucks by self-sourcing. The problem with self-sourcing is you may not be able to find everything that you're looking for. In this case, parts of this were self-sourced with the frame. Actually, everything was kind of self-sourced, but the frame itself, I self-sourced. And as you guys saw in an earlier stream, I showed you how to drill and tap all the holes so that everything lined up so you could do all the blind hole build. But self-sourcing can take a while. If you want to buy a kit, and I know there's a lot of kits out there, there are great kits out there. My first recommendation would be an LDO kit. They probably have the best array of parts that they've put together. If you go by the sourcing guide on the Voron webpage, they have a sourcing guide where it gives you suggestions of where to buy everything. These are real Masumi rails, or aluminum extrusion. It's all made or all done by Masumi and cut by them as well, and it's really easy to have them cut. You can have them drilled and tapped as well, but that's usually another $40 to $70 charge. I can't remember what their pricing is now, but I did the same thing on my first build. I drilled and tapped on my first stuff because I had the tools, so why not, right? Save myself a couple of bucks there and drill and tap them myself. Getting all of the hardware, you can buy hardware kits. The one thing I don't like about hardware kits is that you may not get everything that you're looking for. So try and self-source as much of that hardware as you can, in my opinion. You may not get all those screws and stuff that you're looking for in a kit. I know, like in this kit, for instance, it didn't come with any M3x25s. It came with M3x30s, but you need M3x25s, a lot of them, to do the hot end. So I have a bunch of those thanks to 3D Lab Tech. He brought me over a bunch that I didn't have. Let's see here. What do we got? Rule 3, must transfer the file over Wi-Fi or Ethernet. Yes, we are going to have Wi-Fi. We're going to have Ethernet for our printers. Bamboo beats Jaguar. Them's fighting words. Stream it over to MakerDeck as well. I wish we could, Gary. We'd love to put it over on MakerDeck. Both Tim and I are members over there, but we may not be able to do it. I would assume sourcing individual parts can really add up when it comes to shipping costs versus getting the kit from LDO. Yeah, the shipping costs can add up depending on where you're getting them. It can add up. I know, like my build plate on my first one, the aluminum build plate that goes on here, and I'm going to show you guys that in another stream. I think I paid $60 for the plate, but I think I almost paid as much of that in shipping to get it from Germany to here, to Canada. So that was a bit of a problem. That was a bit of a problem for sure. Nick, FormBot and FizeTech kits are pretty decent. The FormBot kit, that's what Peter's was originally, was a FormBot kit. Maybe it's just me, but I think the FormBot kits were a little subpar in some of the things that they offered originally. So, and he got his pretty early in the FormBot scheme of things. So, but yeah, FormBot and FiSec, those are definitely other, and they're much less expensive than LDO. Okay, I didn't know that there was a huge price difference between them. A lot easier than self-sourcing and can be cheaper than self-sourcing. Okay, Nick, that's good advice. That's excellent advice. John Bima says that the problems with self-sourcing or with kits is you wind up with a whole whack of substandard parts that you wind up replacing anyways, especially with the LDO kits. Really? Well, I hadn't heard that about the LDO kits, but okay, it's something to look out for. LDO, when I reached out to LDO about doing this build, they had very politely said to me that they couldn't do a full kit for me because, first of all, they'd never worked with the first layer, and even though we've been around a long time, they hadn't worked with us. But they were willing to keep us in the loop in case that we decided to do a build and, you know, we needed some parts. And they came across with all the motors and they sent us all of the hardware, all the screws, nuts, and bolts. And they also sent us the E3D Revo Voron hot end with 2 different nozzles, a 0.4 and a 0.6 nozzle. So we're going to be testing those out as well. So yeah, it was, now that we have an established relationship with LDO, there's something that we might be able to do with them later on down the line. Nick, they have improved a lot. There are still a couple of things that should be replaced, like the fans. Okay, the fans aren't great. I thought LDO was top quality stuff, Gary says. LDO, for the most part, I believe is top quality stuff. I believe that the fans that they have are probably the same ones that you're going to find at most good retailers. I always recommend that you get a ball bearing fan for sure. Ball bearing fans work the best in my mind. Or double ball bearing fans. Builded basement, that's a strong statement. Are you able to, there's a bit of a fight going on there. Dwit Canada says LDO kits are very good in my opinion. Haven't replaced anything they provided in the 4 kits that I put together. Well, that's good to know. We need a FormBot FiSec LDO build off. Wow, that might be interesting. Hello, deer makers, Jury 10. Welcome, welcome. It does take a while properly to test the quality. Okay. That's good to know. LDO is top tier as far as Voron kits go, Nick says. Fans are the common thing that everyone cheaps out on. And I agree, sleeve fans should almost be illegal. Now that's actually a really good point, Gary. And Gary and I have discussed this on occasion as well. I do not like sleeve bearing fans. I think they are garbage. They're loud, they break really easily, and in something like this where your fans are constantly going in certain areas of the build, you want something that has that robustness of a double ball bearing fan. And the fans that we put into here are good. The fans that I've used in the past are Winsins. These are also very good quality fans. I really like the Winsin fans. These are dual ball bearing fans as well. I haven't had much problem with these. You just got to remember to buy the right fans for your build if you are self-sourcing. And that's the thing about the sourcing guide, is it will help you find the right parts from the right retailer. So GDS time fans are the best, Jury 10 says. GDS time fans are the ones that are in this particular unit. I also have them, the 60 mil fans that I need for this as well. Brian said those are good fans as well. Nick, shh, ha 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 ha. Geez, I don't want to be any part of that discussion, that's for sure. But where are we going next with this? Well, now that we've got the Stealthburner assembled, we've got a little bit of minor wiring to do, and I'm going to do that off camera. get everything plugged in, and then we are on to putting in the electronics. We're going to put in the Manta M8P board with the CB1 Raspberry Pi equivalent board, and we'll get that all programmed up. And we'll start routing wires in the next episode, which will be on Tuesday night at 6 p.m. We've got 2 hours. I don't want it to go any longer than 2 hours, but we are going to start on that. I really like this ultra lightweight X-rail that we've got on here. I don't know how well that's going to show up on camera, but this is the one that we put on a couple of weeks ago, and it is just really, really cool. It is super lightweight. It's going to hold our hot end. Now this hot end is much heavier, I think, and maybe that's just my opinion, but I think it's much heavier than that. Yep, there we go. It's slipping. Yeah, I do have to tighten those up. But it's much lighter than, or the hot end itself, the hot end assembly is heavier than the original Afterburner, but this X-rail is going to keep it a little bit lighter overall. Pro tip from Jury 10, he says you can use 50-15 12-volt ball bearings, GDS times on 24, and you'll have better flow on the same from factory. Okay, that's interesting to know. Yeah, all right. That is very interesting to know. But yes, on Tuesday, we are going to start putting the electronics into the bottom. We may actually get to start wiring and putting in the things that we need to put in, and probably maybe get the bed on. If not, we'll get the bed on Thursday. And then next Sunday, we are going to be programming. We're going to start getting all the programming on here, and we'll see exactly how far we can get with that. Programming, I'm going to tell you, is my weak spot, but I will follow the directions, and we'll get this up and running as best we can. And I will tell you that there is a little difference in the firmware that we are going to be putting onto this machine and programming with. Yes, it is still made by, or it is a revamp of the firmware that you're supposed to put on this machine, and that's not mainsail, that's not fluid, that's your interface. This is going to be, somebody's going to tell me in the chat right away what I have to put on here. But we are going to put that on, and it will work great. I hope. Because Big Tree Tech has their own firmware for this to get it all up and running. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to use their firmware and do whatever little tweaks that we have to do for the things that we have on here. And that should be it. So drag chains are going to go on. What firmware? Yeah, I'm trying to remember that. It's in my head here somewhere, but I can't remember what it is. But we'll talk about that as we get to that, and we'll show you guys what it is. So until I see you guys next time, thank you for joining me today. I do appreciate it. And thank you for being a part of the stream and being a part of this dedication build. A clipper, that's it, a fork of clipper. I think it's a specific BTT fork of clipper. That is what we're going to be putting on here. Yes, thank you guys, thank you. My old brain doesn't work so well anymore, but yes, clipper is what we're going to be putting on here. And then we're going to use mainsail as our interface, and we will get everything up and running. I'm going to show you all that coming up. So, fork and clipper, that's what I got to remember. So until I see you guys next time, remember that the first layer is always your foundation to a great print. And I will see you here on Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. That's 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. So until I see you guys, have yourselves a great weekend, the rest of the weekend, and tell somebody you love them, give them a hug, and I'll see you guys all next time, okay?